Hey babes, happy Saturday. I'm just finishing the prep that I started a few days ago. But today I wanted to talk about recent world news and some crazy things that's been happening in the last few hours. One of which was the plane crash that happened in Northeast Philly. There are reports of it being a medical plane that was transporting one child, a family member, two doctors, and I think the crew. So I think they're saying like 6 people in total. And I saw live footage and other videos of the incident when it was happening last night compared to what the debris and everything looks like now, and it's insane. So I'm gonna insert some clips of it. But tell me what you guys think about it, because just looking at the damage, I can't imagine that it was indeed just one small medical plane, especially if it hit buildings along the way. The impact that it shows in the street, how does that happen? Like, even when you look back at other plane crashes that have happened and the damage, especially in urban areas, I know there's a few that happened along the highway, looks nothing like it. Especially if it just went straight into the ground without hitting anything else. So overall, crazy. But I will be following the story, and I've posted a video about it on my TikTok, so you guys check me out there at the Denise edit. So this is the second plane crash that has happened in the last few days, with the first being over the Potomac in Washington, D.C. with American Airlines flight, I'm looking at my notes, American Airlines flight 5342. Another thing to note about that is the senior VP, Angela Owens, sold over 51,000 shares in American Airlines. A news report came out about it on the 27th, and then the plane crash occurred on the 29th. I also looked up the story again today, and they just updated the article today, so I'll show you guys that. But now, I don't believe that The Simpsons predicts anything. I think if anything, they're confirming and showing, not necessarily a prediction. But in The Simpsons episode, season 3, episode 2, Mr. Lisa Goes to Washington, a similar situation happens where they're on the plane to DC, and Bart pushes the button that drops down all the air masks, which leads all the passengers into a frenzy. And luckily they were able to land the plane safely, and the plane landed in Washington, D.C. If you want to watch the full episode, it's season 3, episode 2. Side note, also in 1961, the entire U.S. figure skating team perished in another plane crash. And also the doomsday clock. I'm gonna definitely talk about the doomsday clock because I think it's a very interesting thing. There isn't a formula to it in how they're actually calculating the time. It's just a group of people. I think some of them are scientists, maybe some engineers. I'm gonna look up who else is on the board that are making these decisions. And essentially the doomsday clock is how close society is to being self-destructive. And I think we're currently 89 seconds to midnight, which is the closest it's ever been since the doomsday clock. A lot is going on, but let's get into it.
It is the determination of the Science and Security Board of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists that the world has not made sufficient progress on existential risks threatening all of humanity. We thus move the clock forward. In setting the clock closer to midnight, we send a stark signal. Because the world is already perilously close to the precipice, any move towards midnight should be taken as an indication of extreme danger and an unmistakable warning. Every second of delay in reversing course increases the probability of global disaster. It is now 89 seconds to midnight. This is the closest the world has ever been to midnight.